Okay, so today is video 2 out of the 4-part video series that we have dedicated to the Beautiful Years. The Beautiful Years is my new 7-part saga releasing October 2nd, 2018, which is coming up really, really soon. Last week we discussed on the last video, we had went over, how the story took root, how it evolved into a 7-part saga, and how it changed me as a writer. This week, we're going to discuss the characters, which is really exciting for me because I might have mentioned this last time, but it's been almost 2 years since my last release. So I've been keeping a lot of secrets. I've been keeping a lot of things to myself, and now this is my chance to be able to share it, and I'm so excited to do so. Before we go forward, I'm going to ask you to subscribe because I don't want y'all to miss out on a thing. We have exclusive content, giveaways, and parties, and it's all going to be so much fun. So don't forget, subscribe, and that way we can connect through these videos and any other way there is imaginable, for these books, because I'm so excited to share, this new journey with you. This is the first time I've ever written Mafia Romance, and it's just new and exciting, and I'm here to tell you all about it. My name is Annie Rose Welch, and I write love stories that transcend, which to me means different. Today I'm going to explain what that means to me just in a little more depth because, I find that different is always in my books. In Marigny Street, for example, which is my first novel, Eva is the heroine, and she has dreams that predict her future. Now, we all dream, and that's really the ordinary, but not all of us can predict our future through our dreams, and that's where the extraordinary comes in. So it's just basically adding a little bit of a twist to something that is very norm and, making it into something extraordinary. So that's who I am as a writer, and really the Beautiful Years is no different. There's something a little extra about the story as well, and I'll tell you about that once I introduce you to the characters, which is why we're here today. So Scarlett Poésy is our heroine, and Brando is our hero. Now, I want to give you a little history on myself. I was born and raised in New Orleans, and I have an accent. And I don't know if it's my own accent that prevents me from pronouncing words correctly. I'm really not sure what it is. I have a feeling it is my accent, and especially when it comes to foreign languages, I'm not able to tackle them. I mean, I know my limits, and that's it. Now, of course, I can pronounce his name, Brando, Fausti, but I don't feel like I do his name justice, so I'm going to allow Google to help me out here today, because Brando is really, he's Italian, and his name is really Italian, and it's really beautiful, and I feel like I need to do his name justice, so here we go, okay?
Brando Fausti.
One more time, because it's just so beautiful.
Brando Fausti.
Brando Fausti. So Scarlett and Brando are our heroine and hero, and these two are polar opposite. It's basically reckless meets, well-laid plans, right? She is this very light character, this beautiful, graceful ballerina that, has been sheltered most of her life. She knows who she is from a very young age, and she knows really what her destiny is, and that is to dance. And she's accepted that because it's all she's ever known. She's extremely cultured. She's traveled the world. She's danced for royalty at a very young age. She can speak 7 different languages, and she's graduated high school at 16 because she is so smart. But she's also very curious about the world because she was sheltered so much. And Brando describes her in the book as a butterfly because she sort of just, flies wherever she wants to go. And she's just so curious, inquisitive, about the world and things that she doesn't know about or understand and wants to know. Now, I mentioned, taking something that's ordinary and sort of twisting it into something that's extraordinary. And the extraordinary I found in these books in the Beautiful Years comes through Scarlett herself. She has this really peculiar sense about her. It's in the book, it's described as too much empathy, and she really can feel people on another level. She basically, gets under their skin, and she can really find out right away what makes them tick. And no one more than Brando. I mean, it happened on the first page. It was one of the reasons that I was extremely drawn to the story, because I love that about her. I knew it was going to get her in trouble because, paired with her, extreme curiosity, it just seemed like a recipe for maybe a few disasters, and it turned out I was right. It's also one of the things I love about her, because I love that she's able to read people right away. But there's some people that she's not able to. They've sort of learned how to disconnect, and she's not able to read them. But in certain dangerous situations, the sixth sense has helped her out of that, but it's also brought her to that. So she's just this really dynamic character that that I fell in love with. I loved her too. Now Brando, on the other end of the spectrum, is the darkest character that I've ever written. But in the same vein with Scarlett, they could connect through the fact that they both knew who they were and who they were going to be from very early on. Brando knows who his father is. Of course, this is Mafia Romance. He knows who his family is, and he knows the footsteps he could potentially follow in. And he's accepted that at a young age, even though he doesn't particularly want to follow in those footsteps. He wants to forge his own path, but he knows that if he does find himself there, then he's prepared for that. So I've never felt like when I was writing the books that he was ever a boy. He's always been a man, because he knows what comes with this lifestyle. He knows the obligations and the responsibilities, and he's already willing to do that, when it happens, because I'm sure he had a feeling about that at very, early on, that this is the path that his life would lead him to. But unlike Scarlett, he is not as curious. He knows the world. He knows what it's about. He knows how dangerous it can be, especially given his name and who he is. And so he's not as willing to take these chances as she is to learn more about the world. They're drawn to each other by their differences. She's, like I said, she's very naive, and he's extremely street smart. And believe it or not, she's the reckless to his well-laid plans. So they're drawn to each other from their, because of their differences. And he admires her for what he's not, and she admires him for what she's not. And together, they're always stronger on the page. And that dynamic really, really drew me in. I couldn't stop writing. I fell in love with them both, because another theme that never changes in my books is love. I always find that love is a very strong theme in all of my books, and this book is no different, and except for in one way, and that is I felt it more in these books. And I believe that's because these characters were they lived in a dangerous world, and they were always in these dangerous situations, and the world was constantly wanting something from them, trying to pull them apart. And at the end of it all, they have always stuck together and were stronger together, and even stronger after whatever dangerous situation put a lot of pressure on them. I found that it was, for me, the connection began on the first page, and it felt almost explosive, and it was even stronger at the very end of the books. I was able to take this journey with these two characters from book 1 to book 7. They led each book, and they did so in a way that it always felt new and fresh because there was always these new struggles. They were always growing together instead of apart, and I admired that about them, and I fell in love. And come October 2nd, 2018, I can't wait for you to meet these characters because they're just so wonderful together, and I hope you fall in love with them too. So again, now that we've met these two amazing people in my head, subscribe because I don't want you to miss out. Next week, we're going to be chatting about locations, and you don't want to miss that because what amazing journey is not complete, with all these like amazing locations. And before I forget, check out my Pinterest page. It is amazing. When I first started writing, I wanted a way to document this journey. I wanted to have visuals of everything that I was seeing. And so I tried to come close to everything that was going on in the books by pinning them on Pinterest. I am a pinaholic. I love Pinterest, and the over 2,000 pins that I have for this series alone proves that. Now, characters come to me, I can see them in my head, but it's not often that I'm able to find someone that looks just like them, and I still haven't. But I have character inspiration on the board. I can't remember which book it happened, but after I was searching the internet for something, it might have even been on Pinterest. But this Italian model popped up, and it gave me goosebumps because him and Brando resembled each other so much. Not in personality, but in looks. I mean, it's unbelievable. So he's on my Pinterest board. I have all the locations there. There's beautiful cars and beautiful people and beautiful outfits, everything beautiful. So check it out, take advantage. And next week, we'll chat more about all the different locations, which I'm really looking forward to. And so, yeah. All right. So thank you for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoy meeting Scarlett and Brando. And I hope that, you fall in love with them as much as I did. All right. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.